It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show. Of course, our daily mission is to try and bring you some news that you could use. Today would be no exception to the rule. You can follow me on Twitter at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is the Open Mic Broadcast Network. You can also visit the website at obnradio.com. And we have a 24-hour dial-in message line, 713-570-6736. You can drop a message anytime or whatever thoughts are on your mind. And without any further delay, we're going to jump right into today's episode. It is officially Football Friday, although it is slow in the world of the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference as that is concerned. We do have a football report from none other than Brother Rob Butler. We're going to hear from him real soon, but first we're going to take a break, and when we come back from that break, we'll hear directly from Brother Rob Butler and his Southland/WAC report. You're listening to the Mike Prince Show, Football Friday edition, and we'll be right back. Have sports, we'll travel. The Open Mic Broadcast Network serving student athletes from Little League, high school, and collegiate coverage right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. From coast to coast, from dusk till dawn. You can catch all student athletic action right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the station designed with you in mind. Serving the community through faith and athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics.
This is Rob Butler with some FCS football news. Back in January, once the last wave of WAC expansion became official, the league announced they would continue to look for a 14th member. Ideally, the 14th member would sponsor FCS football, share some institutional commonalities with the rest of the league, and would align geographically with the Texas schools. That doesn't leave a huge list of potential candidates. Multiple industry sources are saying that one of the candidates is Incarnate Word. Incarnate Word is being formally vetted by the league, a process that would include campus visits. Now, what about UT Rio Grande Valley starting a program? Communication immediately surrounding the official WAC press conferences suggested that UT Rio Grande Valley was going to start an FCS program, but UT Rio Grande Valley officials stressed that nothing was imminent. FCS football could very well start at the school, and there are still plenty of people in the community and around campus that would like the school to do that, but these things take time, especially in a post-COVID world. Could it happen? Sure. But I don't have reason to believe that the WAC is looking for it to happen in the short term. Are there other potential WAC candidates? The program most commonly mentioned as a potential WAC candidate is West Texas A&M, a D2 program that currently competes in the Lone Star Conference. Other Lone Star programs like Angelo State and A&M Commerce have also been mentioned as potential candidates to move up to D1. I've also heard that senior leaders at West Texas A&M are torn as a move to D1 could trigger a series of events that could split up the Lone Star Conference and damage the viability of Division II football at other schools, something they do not want to do. Now, keep an eye on Northern Arizona. They're also currently being vetted by the WAC. The likely scenario is that Seattle is eliminated from the conference entirely and may be replaced by Northern Arizona. From what I'm told, it's either Northern Arizona or Incarnate Word, but not both, so stay tuned.
The voice of student athletics, the Open Mic Broadcast Network.
And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show. Of course, it is our mission to try and bring you some news that you could use. You heard the Butler report from Brother Rob Butler with the WAC looking for that 14th member. And it appears that all fingers are pointing toward Incarnate Word. And if that be the case, man, what another blow that could be coming toward the Southland Conference. They've already had 5 schools vacate: Central Arkansas and the Texas 4, Lamar, Sam Houston, Abilene Christian, and we definitely cannot forget the likes of Stephen F. Austin. So now it can possibly switch to the Texas 5. Still waiting to see how that will all play out. Meanwhile, don't forget there were some kicking of the tires for a couple of SWAC schools to possibly make the switch over to the Southland Conference, but I'm hoping, praying, fingers, eyes, and toes crossed that that was strictly whispers and whispers only. Meanwhile, as we focus toward fall football camps opening up for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the MEAC, and the rest of the football world, I began to think, I began to ponder, and maybe I'm going to sound greedy, but I want the best of both worlds. Yes, I want to be able to make it to the SWAC championship game. Yes, I want to be able to make it to the Celebration Bowl. But also, yes, I want to be able to have a Southwestern Athletic Conference school make it to the FCS playoffs. And the only way that will realistically happen is we're going to have to start scheduling some of our FCS counterparts, not only schedule them, we don't have to compete with them, but we're going to have to beat them. And when I say beat them convincingly. Can't be a last-second field goal. It has to be a very convincing win up and down the scale. Of course, the closest FCS conference in our neck of the woods would be that of the Southland Conference. But I would like for us to venture out to the Ohio Valley Conference and even to the Missouri Valley Conference to knock down some of the people who are in the way. I'll explain that in a little bit more detail. I'm going to take another quick break and we'll come back with more of our Football Friday edition right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. The Open Mic Broadcast Network would like to take this time to recognize its sponsors and underwriters: Attorney Lee Van Richardson, Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, Prairie View Athletic Club, Temple of Refuge Ministries, Reflections Paint and Body Shop, Helping Hands Lawn Service, Diva Skin Conditioner, Purple Drip Daiquiri and Grill. For more information on how you can become an underwriter or a sponsor here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, our number to call is 832-213-8824. Serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas.
Hello, this is Alonzo Hardy Jr., the president of the SWAC Alumni Association. The SWAC Alumni Association is an organization founded on December 10, 1999, at the Sheraton Hotel in Birmingham, Alabama. Its mission is to serve as a rallying ground for individuals who have made the Southwestern Athletic Conference the illustrious conference that it is today. Its membership is open to former student athletes who played in the conference in any sport, as well as to coaches, athletic administrators, staff members, game officials, and fans. Annually, the association holds a Legends Awards and Roast Banquet or luncheon where it honors individuals with Lifetime Achievement Awards, a Chuck Prophet Wagon Master Award, and occasionally a Distinguished Service Award. Proceeds from that event help to finance degree completion scholarships for student athletes who have exhausted their playing eligibility at SWAC universities, but who may still need an extra semester or two to complete their college studies. For more information on the SWAC Alumni Association or to get information on becoming a member, you can send correspondence to SWAC Alumni Association, 875 Miller Creek Lane, Newport News, Virginia, 23602. The email address is SWACalumniassociation@yahoo.com.
And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show, Football Friday edition. Light order in the world of football, but I have my FCS wish list. We talk about it all the time, and I'm still somewhat motivated, if you would, by the fact that the Southwestern Athletic Conference spring football champion, Alabama A&M Bulldogs, undefeated season, came in ranked 24th out of 25 on the latest poll to come out from Stats Performance. Now, I know there were a combination of moving parts which contributed to that, but from the outside looking in and just looking at the surface of things, there are some ways we can circumvent that. To me, it's on the slight verge of disrespectful, but I'm not going to beat that drum today. I'm going to focus on a solution and not necessarily have a complaint or series of moans and groans for today. We must even the field as much as we can from our side. No, the playing field will never be completely even. That's just the nature of the beast. We knew that from the beginning, which is why we have HBCU conferences, HBCU institutions. It's never going to be completely even, but we can do some things to circumvent some of the obvious and blatant, let's just say, neglect that is geared toward HBCUs. And I know when some of my counterparts hear today's episode, they're going to rely and put a lot of the blame on finances and facilities. And I hear you loud and clear. But from my vantage point, I think that's more of an excuse. We know that finances and facilities are a challenge, but that shouldn't allow us to settle and use that as a crutch for why we're not being competitive. I think when we approach things a little bit different than what we've done in the past, whether it's be on how we recruit, the style of athlete we recruit, and even the systems that we employ for our programs as a whole, has an overall cause and effect. Because when we look at it, our coaches are compensated quite well compared to other FCS institutions, in particular to that of our neighboring institution of the Southland Conference. When you go up and down the list of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, we would have what I would call competitive facilities. I'm not going to say they're at the upper echelon part, but they're not necessarily at the bottom when you compare apples to apples. As we've mentioned before, we have by far some of the most athletic and talented student athletes that make up our conference as a whole. But we got to find a way to put all of it together to keep a consistent run when we play outside of our conference, because us beating up on each other is not going to cut it. Yes, the SWAC is very competitive, but for the grander scheme of things, we have to think beyond the SWAC when it comes to football. There's no reason why we shouldn't have a competitive team beating the doors down in the FCS playoffs. I know the knock is that the FCS does not pay. You have to pay to be a part of it. If the truth be told, we're paying to be a part of FCS football, period. So a couple of more dollars is not going to break the bank. When we transition over to basketball, baseball, you want to have that success in your tournament play in the regional areas of things. The same holds true for softball, same holds true for volleyball, and all of our other sports that make up our conference. So how do we get there? Do we continue to make a wish list and complain about the woulda, coulda, shouldas? Or do we actually put the rubber to the road and start coming with some legitimate, reachable goals that can turn this thing around? And I would have to say yes. And whether we want to acknowledge it or not, the quickest way to get there is to make an overall assessment of how we're spending the money that we have and where are we realistically placing the bulk of our budgets. And where we decide to place the bulk of our budgets, are we getting the greatest return from that investment? And that's something that each institution will have to dissect inside and out and go through with a fine-tooth comb to make sure you're getting the maximum bang for your buck. It's an achievable goal. It's going to be a challenging goal, but you're going to have to think outside the box. Case in point, Mississippi Valley has a baseball vacancy at their head coaching position. Now, We all know that Valley, just like for the most part our other counterparts that make up the Southwestern Athletic Conference and the MEAC, for that matter, are challenged financially, some greater than others. So to have a person come in thinking they're going to have the financial opportunities available to them in the case of a Texas A&M, an Ole Miss, or an LSU, it's not realistic. So the next person that will fill that vacancy knows what they are inheriting. Don't use that as a crutch if you're not going to be successful. Think outside the box. Don't be afraid to go against the grain and try something unique, try something original, try something creative that's going to give your program an edge in the winner's circle. It can be done, and I believe in all of my heart, all of my soul, that it shall be done. But as institutions fill these vacancies, make sure that you're doing your due diligence. Don't just pull a rabbit out of the hat and hope that it sticks. Research, dig deep, and look for the right piece, not for the nearest body. And I think that's part of the overall success road that we can develop for ourselves. I'm going to take one final break, and we'll come back with our closing thoughts and comments for today's episode of the Mike Prince Show here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Keep it right where you got it, and we'll be right back. The Open Mic Broadcast Network is an independent network that is dedicated to local community programming featuring sports, the gospel, community news, and much, much more. It is our endeavor to keep the community informed, enlightened, encouraged, and entertained. Our continued existence is solely predicated on those who donate toward our cause. The opportunity to give is a very simple process. You can visit our Open Mic Broadcast Network site at obnradio.com, click on the PayPal button, and become a supporter today. For those of you who would prefer to send in a donation, make all checks payable to Open Mic Broadcast Network, OPEN, capital MIC, Broadcast Network, P.O. Box 891, Prairie View, Texas, 77446. Thank you for your support. Thank you for spreading the word of the Open Mic Broadcast Network, serving the community through faith and athletics, the voice of student athletics since 2002. And once again, thank you for joining in with us on today. Football Friday edition, a little bit light, but nonetheless, hopefully some information was shared with you that could give you some insights as we move toward Memorial Weekend. And as we move toward Memorial Weekend, do remember that it's an opportunity for you to spend some time with your family if the opportunity presents itself. And although we are scattered here and there throughout what makes up the blueprint for the Southwestern Athletic Conference, we are all family. When one does well, we all do well. When one is in a struggle, we're all in a struggle. And as we focus on being our brother's keeper, let us be reminded that we owe it to ourselves and to each other to always be guilty of putting forth your best efforts at all time. Even if you're having a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year, always be guilty of putting forth your best foot. And when you do that, you'll never, ever, ever lose. I want to thank you guys so much for joining in with us throughout the course of this day and each and every day that we open up the mic here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We cannot get it done without your continued support, and we encourage you to keep showering the love and keep sending in your reports. You can be a part of the listening partner team by visiting the website at obnradio.com. Click on the donation button and send your support that way. Or you can go by way of Cash App at OBN Radio. And for those of you who would prefer to mail in your support and donations, simply do so by making all checks payable to Open Mic Broadcast Network, P.O. Box 891, Prairie View, Texas 77446. My time has come where I must exit stage left. Reminding you guys to join us on Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time for the Carlos Brown Show live by way of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And join me on Sunday evening, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time for the Mike Prince Show live. I am out of here. I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince. You guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.